It was a cold, gray evening in downtown Manhattan. The city lights flickered like tired stars, and people hurried past one another, eyes glued to their phones, hearts caged behind ambition. Inside La Belle Cuisine, a five-star restaurant glowing with chandeliers, Ethan Cole, one of the youngest millionaires in the city, sat alone at his corner table. His watch cost more than most people's rent, and yet his eyes, sharp, calculating, tired, told the story of a man who had everything, except peace. The waiter approached, bowing slightly. "Would you like me to pack the leftovers, sir?" Ethan shook his head. "No. Throw them away." But just as the waiter turned, a frail voice from behind him whispered, "Excuse me, may I have your leftovers, sir?" The restaurant fell silent. Heads turned. Ethan's eyes lifted slowly, annoyed at first, then, confused. Standing there was a woman in a faded coat, clutching her stomach as if trying to silence its growl. Her face was pale, her lips dry, but her eyes, deep hazel, like the last leaf of autumn, carried something he hadn't seen in years, quiet dignity. "Please," she added softly. "I haven't eaten in 2 days." Something inside him twisted. He didn't know why, but he said, "Sit down." The waiter froze. The woman looked shocked. Ethan repeated firmly, "Sit. Eat." She hesitated, then sat, trembling. He signaled the waiter to serve her plate, the one he'd barely touched. She began to eat, slowly at first, savoring every bite like it was her last. People stared, whispered, judged. But Ethan couldn't look away. Each movement, each grateful breath, struck him deeper than he wanted to admit. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. "Clara," she said between soft tears. "Clara James." He watched her hands, gentle, scarred from work, and wondered how someone could look so fragile yet so strong. He didn't know it yet, but that dinner would change everything. Later that night, when she finished, she thanked him, eyes glistening. "You don't know what this means to me." Ethan simply nodded, but inside, something strange stirred. Guilt, maybe? Or curiosity? As she left, the cold wind rushed in, and for the first time in years, Ethan felt empty. That night, he couldn't sleep. Clara's eyes haunted him, not because of pity, but because of truth. He remembered his own childhood, hungry, abandoned, scraping coins before his fortune came. Somewhere along the way, he had buried that boy beneath marble floors and business suits. The next morning, he returned to the restaurant at the same hour. She wasn't there. The next day, again, nothing. But on the third day, as snowflakes began to fall, he saw her across the street, sitting beside a street lamp, singing softly to a stray cat. Her voice was trembling, yet sweet. She smiled when she saw him, as if she'd been expecting him. "Clara," he said, walking toward her. "Come with me. I can help you." She shook her head gently. "You already did, sir. You saw me." That answer, simple, pure, broke something inside him. For the first time in his adult life, Ethan Cole realized how blind he'd been to the world outside his glass towers. He offered her his card, but she didn't take it. Instead, she said, "If you really want to help, don't forget how this feels." Then she disappeared into the night. Weeks passed. Ethan's business empire grew, but his heart grew restless. He found himself visiting shelters, sponsoring food drives, quietly, anonymously. He didn't know why, but every act of kindness made him feel closer to Clara, as if she were a mirror reflecting who he could have been. One evening, after attending a charity event, he saw a crowd gathered near Central Park. A woman had collapsed. He rushed over, and froze. It was her. Clara. She was thinner, paler, but still had that gentle smile. He lifted her into his car without thinking and drove to the hospital. For 2 days, she lay unconscious. Doctors said severe malnutrition, pneumonia, but she was fighting hard. When she finally opened her eyes, he was there, holding her hand. "Why didn't you come to me?" he whispered. She smiled faintly. "Because you needed to find me in your heart first." Tears burned his eyes. "I have money, Clara. I can fix this. I'll get you the best care." But she shook her head. "I don't want your money, Ethan. I just want you to live for something real." For the first time, Ethan wept. Not for her, but for himself, for the man who had built skyscrapers but forgotten how to look up at the sky. When Clara was discharged, he found her a small apartment, a job at one of his charities, and slowly, she became the light of his life. She taught him to laugh again, to notice the sunrise, to smile at strangers. Months later, during a speech at a charity gala, Ethan told their story. He ended with tears glimmering in his eyes. "A stranger once asked me for my leftovers, but what she really gave me was a reason to live." The audience rose to their feet. Clara, standing at the back, smiled through her tears. The miracle wasn't wealth, fame, or success. The miracle was love reborn from compassion, and that night, as they walked hand in hand under the city lights, Ethan whispered, "You once asked for my leftovers, Clara. But you should know, you became my everything." She laughed softly, resting her head on his shoulder. "And you, Ethan, you became my home."